Good evening. 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah, we have this shiur tonight here, and next Tuesday, and that's it. After that, next time we'll be back in Brooklyn, will be after Sukkot. In order for you to know when the next lecture is going to be, if it will be here, I'm not sure, we may have a different location, you'll have to go into my website and check on events. All the people that wants to know where I speak, all they have to do is to click on events, and it shows you all the schedule. We have now the new app. As of tomorrow, you can download the new Android app. It's going to be ready tonight. And those who have Apple, it may take a few days. I don't know how long until they register the new app. So you have a beautiful app. And in 1 month, we're going to have another app. So like this, we're going to have 3 different apps. It'll be hard to choose which one you want to use. Each one with these beautiful features. We have a new design on the website. As probably you figure it out already. All the lectures are there. On the telephone, we have a friendly website that on the phone it works a little bit different than the website, than the computer, to make it easier for use. And if you want to get to all the lectures, you just click on menu and it opens you thousands of lectures there. So today we're going to continue the questions and answers series. If you remember, last week we spoke about meat and dairy and Chalav Israel and all kinds of issues like that. Now we're going to speak about some other topics. Since we are now in a month of Elul, and one of the most important things of the month of Elul is basically tzedakah. If a person has X amount of money to give for tzedakah, I should make sure that this month he'll give more tzedakah than any other month. Why? Because it's the tzedakah multiply the amount of zchuyot that a person has. And then because of that, he comes into Yom Adin with extra good points on the positive side. So it's very important, very good, in the month of Elul. However, there's a different way to look at that. Why? Because if a person now gives tzedakah, and the tzedakah is only starting to get used now, a week or 2 before Rosh Hashanah, it's still not enough time until it produces merits for this coming Rosh Hashanah. It will help for the following one a lot. But right now, I'll give you an example. If somebody decided to make 1,000 CDs, until you make them, until you give them out, it's already a week from now, let's say. It leaves a week before. Until people would finish to hear 1 CD already, Rosh Hashanah came. So what's the better solution? Maybe 2-3 months before. That in the meantime, you walk into Rosh Hashanah when thousands of hours of Torah are spread in the world thanks to your money. Just like in business. All the people, when it comes to business, they're very, very clever. They know when to open the business. When Christmas is coming, they open. Month of December, the goyim are ready. Everybody wants to buy gifts. So all retails, they're open for that season. Why? If you start with a boom, most likely the business is going to get good reputation, and later on, you're going to have, Bezrat Hashem, continuing success. Question now, a person has a tzedakah box in his home. He puts money in it. And this tzedakah was given to him by one organization. Let's call it Organization X. And now, after he filled up the box, he found a different organization that he wants to give the money to, or an individual. It's tzedakah money. He took it out and he puts every day, little by little there. Now he wants to take all the money out. The people that gave him the box, they're not there. They don't know how much he collected for them. They didn't get the money yet. The question is, if by putting it in the box, it already belongs to them, or you can take it and give it to whoever you want, as long as you give it. You're not allowed to take it back. Obviously, that's already like a neder, it's a vow. This is a very common question. I heard that question hundreds of times over the years. I have money that I collected, and I now realize there's somebody by my house that I really want to take it and give it to him. Am I allowed? The answer is, if when you receive the box, you had in mind that now all the money you're going to put in this box goes to this particular organization, that's it. It's theirs. Their tool, it's like the palm of their hands, this box. It's like actually you're putting it for them. It's something belongs to them and they buy it. However, if you say before, all this money is for general tzedakah, not dedicated to them, then you can do whatever you want with the money. But what's the best solution? Not to put in any box. To take a big Ziploc bag somewhere in a drawer and put all your coins and singles, whatever you put every day for tzedakah, you put it in a Ziploc bag, and when the time comes to give the money, that's when you make the decision who you're giving it to. Because things can change. Things can change. So therefore, based on that, you can do whatever you want with the money. A convert, she's asking now, after she became Jewish, if she can give her maaser tzedakah to her biological goy father. He brought her to the world. Technically, according to the Torah, is not her father anymore. Is not considered her father. But the question is, if she's going to take her maaser, is she allowed to give it to him? She can give him any money she wants. It's no problem. There is no restriction to give money to her biological father. The question is, can she do it from the maaser, or the maaser has to go to Jewish poor people? Better if there are people who sit and learn Torah, of course, but the concept of maaser, that they will go to people that needs. So the answer is, she can use the maaser money to help her non-Jewish parents, biological parents. Why? We have a rule that when there is a Jewish fund for charity, if a non-Jew come and ask from them to help him out, let's say they give out food for the poor, or they give clothing for children, or they give money for people for the holidays, or whatever the case is, if a non-Jew come to them and say, help me out, the Gemara says, Masechet Gitin Peit Samech Aleph, Mefarsemim Aniyei Akum, Aniyei Goyim, you can give them money, Mipnei Darkei Shalom, because of peaceful ways. You don't want to create hatred, and they're going to say, what kind of Torah is this if the Jews only help their own people? By the way, you should also know that among the Jews, we have this question. Why? Because sometimes you come to a certain community and you tell them, I heard you have gmach for the poor people, and I want to get help. So they say to him, where are you davening? In which community you are? So he say, I'm over there. So right away they know it's not one of our nationality. It's not one of the community. So automatically they push him away. The Chachamim says there is a bird called Hasidah, flamingo. It stands on 1 foot. And Hasidah, it's supposed to be a kosher bird. It's not a murderer bird. The birds that are murdering for their living, like eagles, ox, all these ones that attack the weak birds, they are not kosher. Hashem doesn't want us to eat murderers. No tigers, no leopards, no lions, no eagles. None of these murderers are kosher. Only the animals who are surrendering. They surrender, and animals that themselves are vegetarian, as you can see. They eat grass, leaves, like deer, giraffe, bisons, cows, sheep, goats. All of them are surrendering animals. They're not a threat to the world, and they're vegetarians. They don't eat other living creatures to survive. It's very interesting. Plus, those are the ones that Hashem, the ones that we have the obligation to use for sacrifice, Hashem say, I did not bother you to give you animals that are difficult to hunt. For instance, you don't sacrifice a deer, even though the deer is kosher animal. You don't have an obligation to sacrifice 2 deers every day, like the sheep. In the morning and in the evening, korbanat, you have to. Why? Because it's very hard to catch a deer. If every day you have to run hunting just to bring the daily sacrifice, it's a lot of headache. So Hashem say, I did not bother you too much. I gave you easy animals. What's to catch a goat? You bring him up and right away. Same thing a cow. How hard it is to catch a cow. It's very easy. So the idea is, in that case, why the flamingo is not kosher? If it's not a murderer bird, the Gemara say flamingo, it's a chasidah. Why the name of the chasidah? It's chasidah. It comes from the word chesed. Why is it? Because she's a kind bird. She helps. She likes to help. So the Gemara say, if that's the kind of bird it is, why in that case this bird is not kosher? The answer is because it only does kindness, chesed, with his own kind. If other birds coming, it doesn't want to cooperate. Only to their own race. So if you are a racist, if you don't want to help other ones, you're not considered a Baal Chesed. We see something very interesting here. So the same thing over here. If they come, you do not want to create hatred. That's why you give the goyim also money from the chesed. However, sometimes the goyim donates to the Jewish fund also. The smart goyim, if they really smart, if they give charity to kosher Jewish causes, because not all Jewish causes are kosher. You have to be very careful. Some of the causes is just like donating to the church, no difference. But someone who is clever, and I have few of those, non-Jewish tzaddikim, they keep the 7 law, and they invest their money in a smart way. Why? They know, let this rabbi bring me income. I invest my money, whatever he does with my money, he's going to get me when I die one day, I come to God, I'll be a king. Yes, I'm not going to the heaven of the Jews, but I'm going to where I am with lots of merits. What, I'm going to give it to the church? It's all idol worshipping. For every dollar I give them, I'm going to get punished. I give it to the mosque. Every dollar I give them go to murder Jews or to do propaganda against them. It's the children of God. So I'm going to get punished for this donation. If I give it to the Chinese temples, it's all idol worshippers. So where would I give my charity? To be a goy and to give money to a fund, you have to be very, very lucky to find a kosher fund. Now you may come and say, okay, give it to the Red Cross. They go, they feed the poor, they go to countries that, children don't have what to eat. That's what you see on television and on their website. In reality, if you know all this bombastic organization, you know that half of the money that goes to those funds are stolen by all kinds of people who eat from the cake. So in reality, a smart goy, he should invest in the right way. So if a goy lives in a place where he knows there is poor Talmidei Chachamim that learns Torah, and they get food for Shabbat, like what we call today Tomchei Shabbos or other thing, chicken for Shabbos, and the goy gives money over there, and they use this money to give to the people that learn Torah, that they have what to eat on Shabbat with their children, this goy just made a very good investment. However, if goyim come to the same fund to ask for tzedakah, the one who managed the charity, the fund, has to give money that goyim gave to goyim, and money that Jews gave to Jews. If there is too much money the goyim gave and not that many goyim demanding, so then he can use the money also for Jews. If there's not enough money that goyim gave, but there's a lot of demand from goyim, then he has to use the money from the goyim to give it to Jews. Why? If the Torah always say that your brother is more important than a stranger, even between two Jews, your brother and your cousin, who do you have an obligation to help first? Your brother. Your cousin and a stranger. Your cousin comes first. He has a blood relation to you. Your Jewish neighbor to your non-Jewish neighbor. Not that the non-Jewish neighbor is not important. There's no reason not to give him. What's the reason? Because the Jew is your brother, and Hashem gave priority list. Same thing by the Goyim. They help their own nation. It's always like this with the priorities. However, we have to know one thing. The reason that we still have to give them is because giving them will eliminate some of their hatred to the Jewish people, which means this halacha esav soneh leYaakov. The law of nature says that always, no matter in what generation, the majority of the goyim will hate the Jews. Not all goyim. It could be 60%, it could be 70%, it can be 52%. The majority of the goyim throughout history, since there are people in the world, was always like that. They were after the Jewish race, always from the time of Shem, Avraham Avinu. Everywhere you go, you saw that we have these issues, always. Look at Avraham Avinu with Avimelech, with the whales. Look at Yitzchak, how they block his whales. It didn't start today. We're talking 3,500 years ago already. However, one of the ways to take their anger down is to give them money. All over Europe and in the Arab countries, there was a very solid tradition to relax their hatred to the Jews. It's called bakshish. They used to come, you give him a little bit, envelope with some cash. You bought yourself another month of peace. They won't bother you. He comes again, he wants to burn the Jewish market. You collect some money, you know what he wants. Abdallah, come here, take, enjoy your holiday. Say, Faddal, hugging you. This is how it was. Usually most of the problems they used to solve with money. Huh? Not anymore. Not anymore. Now Hashem already has the final plan. It has to go according to the plan now. Now, you're right. Not now. No matter what, we're not going to be able to do anything to make them leave us alone. Because Hashem is now ambushing. Is closing us from all direction until we're going to all do tshuva. The Mashiach would come. And finally, we're coming to the final step. Next question. I got a box from a charity fund. And now, after finally 20 years that I filled it up with $50, after 20 years, now I call and they're out of business. What do I do? It belongs to them, the box. The number is disconnected. Next time, try to do it in 5 years instead of 50. So by the time they wanted to give them the money, they're out of business. What do? The answer, the money is hefker, free. You can give it to any other kosher charity. No problem. Some organizations, they exist. I left few messages on their line to come pick up the bags, and they don't come. Maybe business is too good for them to come pick up some quarters. It's not worth it. They get the big checks. What, they're going to come and collect $50 in a box? It's not worth it for them. So I call once, and they don't come. Call twice, they don't come. I left few messages. What do? I sit with that until Eliyahu Hanavi would come? That's the law, by the way, with the lost object. If you found a lost object belongs to a Jew, you cannot locate him, you don't know. You have to keep it until Eliyahu Hanavi would come. Which means you can use it, you cannot sell it, you cannot do it. If it's something that is very difficult to maintain, so then you sell it and the person comes, you give him the money, go buy yourself a new sheep or whatever. You're not going to start raising. Not everyone is Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa. That one poor person came to him and said, "Excuse me, Rabbi, I'm going to buy some fruit here in the market, and I have this chicken." Today people walk with dogs in the street. The old days they used to have a little chicken, it has a little stripe, and they walk in the street like that. So he said, "Can you leave the chicken by you for an hour until I come back?" So they tie it to a pole over there, and that person never showed up. So now, after a few days, this female chicken started to give birth, eggs. Few eggs, few more chicken came out, few more eggs, few more chicken. All of a sudden, the whole house of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa looked like Erev Yom Kippur, kaparot. Chickens everywhere. So Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa said, listen, I can't even learn Torah with all this noise. He got somebody, he said, buy them all, give me the money. Then he went and bought with the money a pair of sheep, male and female. After a few years, it became a cattle. Like everywhere you go, so many sheep. And he himself was very poor. So how did he maintain the sheep? He used the wool, the milk that they give to maintain the cost of feeding them. One day this poor person showed up. I guess he had to come again to that market. He remembered, oh, I left here a chicken. He knocked down on the door. He knock on the door. The rabbi opened up the door. Rabbi Hanina, I'm very sorry. I know I came here a few years ago when I used to have hair. Now, where is my chicken? Oh, yeah. Come, let me show you your chicken. He took him to the backyard. You see all these sheep over there. He said, this is all yours. Take them. So Rabbi Hanina invested his money wisely, and he became a rich man. So, if they don't come after 1 year, it's a sign they gave up. If 1 year they don't check about it, then you can give it to another tzedakah. But of course, any money in your life that you put away from tzedakah, you can never ever use it back for yourself. That's it, it's ekdesh. If you even have in mind, I want to give this Talmid Yeshiva $1,000, and you did not tell him yet, and you did not give him, and tomorrow your Yetzer Hara began to eat your heart. You're crazy, 1,000, it's too much. You can give him 500, it's enough. Don't be fanatic. 500 is also good. So the answer is no, my friend. If gamarta bedaatcha, you already have it finalized in your head to give it for Torah, for tzedakah, for holy cause, that's it. You cannot change your mind. But if you're just debating in your mind, how much should I give? 1 minute you think, I'll give 1,000. 2 minutes later, no, 500 is enough. Then you say, no, why not? 1,000, 500, 1,000, 500, 1,000. In the last minute, you change your mind back to 500. It's no problem. Why? Because you did not have it finalized in your eyes, in your mind. If you had back and forth 500, 1,000, 500, 1,000, in the end you say, no, enough. I'm giving 1,000. And tomorrow now you want to open the case, too late. You got to give the money. But if you still did not make a set price guarantee in your mind, you can still decide how much to give. Somebody that was approached by an organization to buy a lottery card from them. They make a raffle, and the money, of course, go to charity. And in the end, somebody will get a car or a trip to Israel, whatever they give. And the question is, does it even count as charity? Because the person is expecting with $100 that they give to win a car. Just like when he go to the regular lottery, he buy cards hoping to win a lot of money. So can he say that by buying a lottery ticket, he's giving tzedakah to the lottery company? Everyone would laugh at him, giving tzedakah. You give tzedakah, you want to get the car. The question is, when it comes to yeshiva, and they make the raffle, and the only way you would agree to pay $100 for this raffle because they offer a good price, which means if they come to you and say, give $100 to the yeshiva without winning a prize, you wouldn't give. The question now, does it consider tzedakah or it's a strictly business investment and you have zero charity in Shamayim? What do you think? So the answer is, it's considered tzedakah. Only if what you win, you also give to tzedakah. Now I know how the Jewish mind works. So the people say, wait. I'll tell you what you want to say. The people say, okay, you know what? I have a good idea. I'm going to buy this raffle ticket for $100, and I'm going to declare that I'm giving it tzedakah to the yeshiva. When I win the car, I'll change my mind. I say, okay, listen, I got the car. Okay, so you won't come tzedakah the $100.
I had a better one.
What?
They already got money for the car. I'm thinking I'm giving them the car. Okay, I want the car. I want the car.
You know how my Rabbi used to say, if you tell him that, he would tell you, I hear you. I hear you.
Double nice you have to give.
Huh?
Double nice you have to give.
I gave money to a homeless woman, and apparently I just found out she's a crook. She lives very comfortably somewhere. She put her outfit every day. For her, Purim is 365 days a year. I found out that she's a crook. Did it count for me as a tzedakah or no? I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. The Gemara said that Prophet Yirmiyahu, he said to Hashem, all the stingy people, all the people with the heart of rock that do not want to give charity, when finally once in a blue moon, when finally their heart is softened up, that they finally agree to give charity, please make sure that it will fall to the hand of the crooks, that it would not go to a kosher fund or kosher charity. So from here, what do we learn? That it's very important where the tzedakah went. Otherwise, who cares where it goes? I gave my tzedakah. Whatever they do with that is not my problem. I know what I aimed. I know what I wanted. And that's basically, I got my mitzvah. He decided to go gamble with the money or to buy himself pork. That's not my problem. I did what the Torah ordered me. True or false? Based on the words of the prophets, there's not even a question. If it didn't make a difference, whatever you give, it count already tzedakah. So why did the prophet beg Hashem, make sure that the stingy people, their money would go to the crooks? Which means it's a big nafkamina, big difference, if the money fall to kosher hands or fall to non-kosher hands. So far it's clear or no? Now I'm going to answer the answer, and you explain to me, how do you explain the contradiction? If you gave it to him, it counts tzedakah. It does. So in that case, what did the prophet want? If it counts anyway, it's tzedakah. The answer is, there's different level of tzedakah. When Hashem pays the person for charity that he gives, there are different channels that he pays him. Different channels for different levels of tzedakah. For instance, one of the criteria that Hashem check is first how the person gave. He gave it with a smile, with a full heart. He's very happy to do it. He's doing it only because Hashem commanded to give tzedakah, not for personal gain, 100% for the sake of heaven. So that's a very high cause, because a person is doing it l'shem shamayim. That's a very high thing. Now, next thing is, of course, the amount. How much he gives. Everybody can give a penny l'shem shamayim. Even the homeless people come to him and say, excuse me, Vini, you have a little bit too many pennies over there. Give me 2. Yeah, believe me, he'll give it to you. Big deal. Ask him 20. He'll pull his gun out. So the point is, up to a certain amount, everyone is a tzaddik. From here on, some of the tzaddikim fall off the wagon. The higher the amount is, more and more people are going down. So the question is, second thing is the amount. Now the amount is not literally the amount, is the amount compared to the giver. The person that gives. For instance, if he's a worker in a bagel store that makes $10 an hour, he works 10 hours very hard and he makes $100. By the end of the day, $100. Somebody like that now just gave to the poor person $50. So he really gave 5 hours of his life to this poor person. 5 hours of his life. Then this fancy lawyer who makes $50,000 a day, and he just gave $1,000 to a poor person. Who did something greater. The one who gave $50 to the poor person, which is 5 hours of hard work by the oven in 110 degrees. He's standing in 500 degrees, sweating, dripping sweat, working very hard, putting bagel, taking them out, very hard work. And now he saw a poor person, he took half of what he made today and he gave it to him. And then this fancy lawyer driving his Bentley saw a poor person, he felt bad for him. So from the $50,000 that he has in his pocket now, he took 10 bills, he gave it to him, he gave him $1,000. The poor person saw $1,000, he almost got a heart attack. So of course you ask the poor person, who's a greater guy? He will say, the guy that gave me $1,000. The question is, how is it judged in Shamayim? We have a rule. In Shamayim, it goes by the efforts. How much efforts you put into that mitzvah. So therefore, the one that put 5 hours of his life into the mitzvah definitely has a much bigger reward. Not exactly. Here comes now the words of the prophet. This is the third category. Remember what I just said about tzedakah, because that's going to go with you for the rest of your life. The third category is what came out of your mitzvah. One is the intention, I did the right thing, I wanted to give. I'm not a prophet, I cannot say who's a crook, who's not. It's not in my hand. So I gave belev shalem, complete heart. And I even gave a lot. And in the end, it went to the wrong person. So nothing good came out of it. Nothing good. So if something bad come out of it, you're not getting punished. Unless if you know he's a wicked guy. If you know this guy is a drug addict, and the money that you're going to give him is going to run to buy heroin, because that's what he does every few hours of his life, then you have a share in his sin. If you know this guy is Mechalel Shabbat, and he asks you 5 minutes before Shabbat to borrow your car, you know what he's going to do with your car on Shabbat. Lending him the car make you a sinner. Participate in his crime. If you know this person eating non-kosher food, and he asks you money for food, you say, I'm very hungry, help me out. You're not allowed to give him money for food. Why? Because he's going to go to the supermarket and buy non-kosher food, and your money will go to non-kosher food. So the rule, if you can prevent the sin with your money, you must do it. If you don't have a say, you don't know what he's going to do with that, it's a different story. So what do you do if a person comes and tells you, I'm hungry, I don't have what to eat? Give me money to buy food. You tell him, let me buy you what you need. What do you want? I need bread, I need milk, I need this, I need cheese, I need that. You say, no problem, wait here. You go and you buy. Or you send him to a glad kosher supermarket that everything there is kosher. He says, I'll give you the money in one condition. You buy everything from this store. So therefore, even if it's your parents, don't give them cash. If you know they're buying non-kosher food, you're not allowed to give them cash. You tell them you want food. I opened an account with my credit card. Whatever you need up to this amount every week, you have to buy in that store only. You don't have credit in any other store. Like this, you force them to eat kosher. And then if they eat kosher, it opens up their eyes to do other mitzvot. Something good came out of your money. It's perfectly fine when someone needs your financial help to take advantage on it, to force him to become a tzaddik. You want my money? I'll help you in one condition. You accept to keep Shabbat. You promise me you put tefillin every day. You're going to dress modest for the ladies. If you're going to do that, I'll give you the money that you need every month. You're not doing it, find somebody else to help you. No problem. Hey, you're taking advantage that I need your help? The answer is, I'm not taking advantage for myself. I'm taking advantage to save your neshama. It's different. If I come and say to you, oh, I know you're a good mechanic, I'm only going to give you tzedakah if you come and fix my car every week. That's taking advantage, yes. But if I say, I'm going to give you the money if you're going to go to the doctor and have the operation you need, I'm worried about myself, I'm worried about yourself, that I know if you're not going to make the operation, you'll be dead in a year. So I can take advantage with my money, like they say in Hebrew, Ba'al ha'me'ah u'ba'al ha'de'ah. The owner of the 100 is the owner of the opinion, but it doesn't sound so good in English because it's not rhymed. So what it really means is the owner of the money is the one with the power, just like we see everywhere we go, right? So in a case like that, you can take advantage. So the answer here now is, first of all, when it comes to business, people check 100 times. Who do I give my money to? They check his financials, they check his credit, they check references. Before they invest money, how many checks they do? Some people even hire private investigators. I had a friend that became very, very rich because he used to be a private investigator. When he was a private investigator, he didn't make so much money. He made a nice amount, but wasn't a millionaire. One time, Edmond Safra, the billionaire, the Syrian billionaire that passed away in the meantime, hired him to follow a person from Texas that he wanted to invest money with, to check him out, if it's not a criminal, that all the stories that he told them, if it's real. So he's a private investigator. So he had to go and follow to see that this person is not a drug dealer. They don't want to put their money with a criminal, which is perfectly legit. So by following the guy, he found out that the guy had an amazing idea. What was this job? He found a way to make a lot of money. How did he make money? In companies, they have shredding boxes, that they shred confidential material, like medical files, lawyers' files, that is a lot of confidential material. If somebody will grab this material, they can blackmail the firm for millions of dollars because they'll know the secret, bank accounts, customers' information. So obviously it must be shredded. So now, shredding machine, maintaining them, replacing them, taking them the papers to dump it, it's a big headache. So this guy had a beautiful idea. What did he say? He bought a truck from Canada for $150,000 from a company. They have a shredding engine on the truck with special big container with wheels. They have 2 people with uniforms. They go to people's offices in the building. They come inside. They put boxes with key. Nobody can open it up. It's locked with a key. There's a very thin hole. People throw all the papers inside, and they don't have to worry about it. This company come, they take it, they bring it down. In front of the manager, they dump everything. It shreds it to dust. It makes it mamash like snow. That's it. They see, he signs that he saw that everything was shredded, and they charge him by the pound. And he makes money. They go collect money. He saw that this guy is doing it. He did it here in New York and made many, many millions of dollars. Not only that, after that, they sell the shredded papers for recycling. They make no papers from that. So he was making on both sides. He's collecting their garbage. Then he goes to a place, dump it on a machine, and they pay him by the pound, and he makes very beautiful. How did he become rich? Israeli private detective. So when it comes to invest in business, people go as far as hiring a private detective to know who they give their money to. But when it comes to tzedakah, nothing. They look at the beard. Nice beard. How much, Rabbi? Beautiful beard. Next time when you give tzedakah by the beard, be careful. I may send you a Sikh from India. He also have a nice turban and a beard. Yeah. The beard does not make the cause kosher. Also the size of the sombrero and how long is the frock and how many buttons in the back. None of that makes it a kosher cause. Sometimes you tell people, give me the telephone number in a yeshiva that you're collecting for. I want to call them to see if you're really collecting for them by permission. Many times you'll be surprised how quickly he ran away from your home before you finish the call, before he get caught and you call the police on him. Believe it or not, I have yeshiva in Yerushalayim, and one day a guy comes to my house in Monsey, and he knocks on my door. And I say to him, to which yeshiva are you collecting? He say, Yeshivat Mevakshei Hashem. I say, where? He said, in Yerushalayim. I said, Yeshiva Mevakshei Hashem? You tell me, Yeshiva Mevakshei Hashem? I don't remember hiring you. Right away, okay, I'm sorry. He ran away. 2 minutes later, somebody else knocked on my door. And I see that he looks exactly like that guy. A little bit different. I said, he has to be his brother. So I said to him, what are you collecting for? He said, I'm getting married next month. I'm collecting for my wedding. I don't have money. So I said, as long as you're not a crook like the guy that was by me a few minutes ago. So he said to me, why? Why are you calling him a crook? He's my brother. His ego. Why are you calling him a crook? You have people like this. One more thing. Whenever people knock on your door and they want tzedakah, first thing you do is check from the window if they have a driver or not. If there's a driver waiting outside car service, don't give them a penny. Tell them, leave me your envelopes. Next week I'll send you a check. Why? Because this driver takes sometimes half of the amount to himself. That's the deal. I'll take you to places that people give tzedakah because he's experienced. In one condition, that you give me 49% of the money. Now, this guy doesn't know from his life where to go. Doesn't speak English, doesn't know anything. He's forced to give him the money. So it's better for him that you don't give him now. Because whatever you give him now, he has to give him. But next week, independently, you send him a check if it's a kosher place. But today they learn it. The driver parked 1 block away. So you have to ask him, tell me the truth. You came here with the driver? Some of them already learned. They say, I'm walking. I'm not with the driver. You can relax. Bottom line, I think, in my opinion, anybody who don't know for sure who he is, don't give anything. Just a few pennies and that's it. Here is $2, $3. You find the cause that you trust 100%. You know who the person is. You know what gets done with the money. You're not worried. And only to that cause you give. You don't take risk. Just the same thing in business. If you have a good investment and you trust the guy, and then you have a few other ones that maybe are good and maybe not, you don't gamble by them. Him, you know for sure, you give by him. Them, you're not sure 100%, maybe they're good. I'm not saying everyone is bad. But since you do not know, why to give? You got to be very careful. So it says like this. What came out of your money, that's really the biggest reward. Why? If the money was used for nonsense, so Hashem gives you the money, the reward for the effort and for the intention and for how long it took you to earn this money. All of that you get your reward for. But the most important thing, what came out of your money, you don't have. If you give it to a person that is not doing what he's supposed to do with that, what results the money brought you? But if you give it to a person who sits all month and learn Torah, now you have a share in 1 month of learning Torah that he was able to sit and learn. So you gotta be, that's why in general, when you have 2 poor people, you don't want to give just to anyone. You give it to the one that makes HaKadosh Baruch Hu happier. So if you have $1,000 to give and 2 poor people come, one is worthless Am Haaretz who never opened a book in his life. All he wants is to eat and to drink and to sleep and to do nothing. And he goes and collects money. And the other one sits and learns Gemara all day, all night, non-stop. You give the Talmid Chacham $990 and you give $10 to the other one, and that's it. Of course, it's better that they don't do it in front of him, not to insult him. You can get each one of them to the room separately, and you can tell him, I'm giving it to you. Don't tell him how much I gave you. You're allowed to tell him. And like this, you protecting your own interest. You're doing the mitzvah, and you're going to get a huge reward from that mitzvah. There's a famous story, I think it was about the Gaon Mivilna, that 2 people came to him from a city far away, and he had his helper standing over there. And they told him that they came from that city and they collect. So he said to the first one, describe to me your city. So he said to him, there's beautiful gardens, there's water fountains, the city just changed, they made new roads. There's beautiful docks, lots of nice trees. It's all green, fresh air. And then he said, okay. And then he said to the other one, describe to me your city. So he said, Baruch Hashem, the city in the last 10 years has a lot of yeshivot. They built 3 new shuls just the last year. Now they're opening another new mikveh. The 3 Talmidei Torah. The city is full of Torah, Baruch Hashem, compared to what it used to be, what it became. So the rabbi gave all his money to the one and mamash few pennies to the other one. When they left, his helper asked him, Rabbi, what is this? It's discrimination. Why one everything and the other one nothing? And how do you know what you see on their face, who is more righteous than the other? So he said, I asked them to describe their city. The first one was speaking about the sport, was speaking about the lakes, the water fountain, the grass, the road, the docks, which means his mind is in this world, in nonsense. The other one did not speak anything about the city, only about the Torah in the city. So I know where his mind is. His mind is Torah and Kedusha. Why should I put my money on a guy that goes to eat falafel and sit in a market to play sheshbesh? What is it going to give me in Shamayim? Next. The organization of Torah wants to hire a person to go and collect money for them. They cannot afford to pay him a salary. It's a poor institution. But they want to make a deal with him that he takes certain percentage from the donations for his efforts. He goes from place to place. It's a full-time job. Allowed or not allowed? The yeshiva does something kosher or not?
It's kosher.
Answer, allowed. The person that's asking for commission from the charity, it's kosher or not? The answer, that's his job. How is he going to live if he has to run from place to place? He has to eat. So both sides doing something that is not against the law. For you to give to this kind of organization, it's a good idea or no? Yes, but do it smart. Don't give it to any representative. Give it directly to the institution. What's the difference? By giving it directly to the institution, you cut the middleman. So the extra 20 or 30% that I have to give him goes directly to the Torah of the place. So now you have more Torah from your money than gas and tolls. So it's higher production. But there is an extra remark to add to it. Overall, in general, and I know I'm going to get killed tomorrow for it, like last year when I said it, but I have to give my listeners the right advice. Why should I mislead them? Overall, the best advice is never to invest by bombastic organizations, no matter how kosher they are. Even if they're kosher, even if they do a holy job, organizations are heavy. They have a heavy budget. The overhead is very high. They need buildings. They have to pay mortgages. They have to hire a lot of secretaries and accounting and employees and drivers, and they need to lease cars. And they have to pay all kinds of expenses, which in reality, if you're lucky, half of the amount you give will go to the actual cause. So whether they save intermarriage, whether they feed the poor, whether it's a yeshiva, whether whatever it is, 100% kosher place. I'm not talking about fake places. That's nothing to talk about. Talking famous, bombastic, big organization who does a lot of great things in the world. If there is a way to invest in the same cause without all this overhead, much better. I give you an example. Somebody comes from a bombastic yeshiva and wants you to give a check to the yeshiva. You give it to the yeshiva has to pay the mortgage, the building, the electric, the toilet paper, the cleaning guy, Ahmed that cleaned the floor. The yeshiva has a lot of expenses. However, if you know one poor kid from that yeshiva, 20 years old, and he sits and learns all month, and barely has what to eat, he may even got married, already have a baby or two. What's better, to write every month $1,000 to the fund of the big yeshiva, or to come to give directly $1,000 to the person that you know personally who sits and learns? What's going to get you a lot higher level of Torah? Directly to the person. Why? Not that chas v'shalom the yeshiva stole your money. No, the yeshiva has to supply a building. They have to pay the electric. They have to buy books. They have to pay the teachers. It's legitimate expenses. If the money that you gave them went to the teachers, it's very good. It's also Torah. If it went to the learners, it's very good. It's also Torah. But the problem is that it also go to Ahmed. Also go to taxes. Also go to fixing the leaks. That's already not the same. In the time of Chafetz Chaim, he had yeshiva. And there was one gvir who used to give one check once a year that was the main donation of that yeshiva. And they had a collector. And one time the collector came. Every year he used to give him a very big check, like 100,000 ruble or something. One time he came, and the gvir gave him only 5,000 ruble instead of 100,000. This is a very, very big problem for the yeshiva now, because they're counting on this money. So he asked him, well, what's the problem? He said, that's what I can give you this year. He went to the Chafetz Chaim, he showed him the check. Chafetz Chaim said, I have to pay a visit to this guy. Maybe he lost all his money. Maybe we have to pray for him. Let's see what's going on. He came to visit him. He said, I understand there's a problem because you've been very generous all the years. Either there is a problem by you or there's a problem by us. Either way, I have to know about it. If it's by you, we have to do everything to help you in time of problem. If it's by us, you must tell me that we can correct the problem. So he told him, Rabbi, I tell you the truth. Every year, your collector used to come walking in the snow, sun. He comes, I see from the window, he walks from one place to another, in a mountain, in a forest. All of a sudden, I see he came with a carriage and horses. Like with a car, what we call today a driver, open the door for him. If the yeshiva spend money on horses and carriage, I'm not interested to give money to this kind of yeshiva. So the Chafetz Chaim answered him, when a person give, in time of Bet HaMikdash, everyone gave machzit shekel. People gave donation to Bet HaMikdash. In Bet HaMikdash, some of the money went to Kodesh HaKodashim, or to the Mizbeach, or to the most important things in Bet HaMikdash. And some of the money went to buy food for the horses. How did Hashem decide when all million people put a coin in a box? Million coins now. How did Hashem decide which coin will go to Kodesh HaKodashim and which coin will go to the toilet paper or to the food for the horses? Depend on the person, depend how clean his money, depend how he gave it with full heart, with no condition, not for the 100% for the sake of heaven. That's how Hashem maneuver the money. So this rule applies until today when a person gives money to organization. The organization get money to the account from many different people. Some of the money comes to the hand of the people that learn Torah, they need to eat, so it's very good. Some of the money goes to clean the bathroom. How the Rosh Yeshiva knows? He doesn't know. All the money get mixed in one account. He writes a check here, he writes a check here, the accountant. How do we know the yeshiva just wrote $500 from which person it is? Nobody knows. Only Hashem knows. And only Hashem will decide when a person comes. Two people would stand and they say, I don't understand. I gave to this yeshiva every month 1,000, and he gave 1,000 to the same yeshiva. We started the mitzvah together. Why he gets a much bigger reward than me? Why his money went to the Torah and why money went to buy food for the horses or for the electric or whatever? So the answer would be the same way, the way you made the money and the way you gave the money. And the efforts, that's how I decide where the money is going to go to. So here I came and I gave you a trick since we're not exactly making the money in 1,000,000% kosher way, we try, but sometimes we make mistakes. And the second problem is we not always give tzedakah like the Chafetz Chaim used to give tzedakah, or to other tzaddikim. So we're not great about that also. And plus, we don't give as much as we can give. If we're lucky if we give 10% of how much we can really give. So we're not so great about that. So to count that Hashem will take our money and give it to Kodesh HaKodashim, it's being over-optimistic. So I gave you a shortcut. Go directly to Kodesh HaKodashim. You have to protect your investment. If you know you're such a big tzaddik, you don't have to worry. Hashem will make sure your money comes to the best thing. But if not, same thing, by the way, you buy 100 CDs, you pay $100 and you give them out to people on the street. Itzik, come, enjoy, it's a great CD. Rachel, come, there's a great CD. Yochanan, come, it's a CD. Avi, come, CD. Your friend did the same thing. You stand by the college outside, you give to people, and he gave. You paid $100 and sweat all day to give it out. He paid $100 and sweat all day to give it up. You come to Shamayim, you got lucky. 20 people became Shomrei Shabbat. By him, only one. So Hashem gives for the amount, same reward. The amount, same amount. Effort, same effort. Intention, you both did 100% Hashem Shamayim. Same reward. Results, complete different results. He is collecting on 20 people with their children and grandchildren, which will be trillions. And you collecting on one with his children. It's also big. But how do we know how it's going to be? There's only one that knows, Hashem. Nobody can control these things. Nobody can control. Plus, in life, it could be a moment of distraction. A person really had an intention to put it in his car when you gave it to him. But all of a sudden he got a call. And the call got him upset. And he drove quickly to a place because somebody got him angry. And by the time he went there, he was there for an hour or two, and he forgot about the CD. It fell in between the car. A month later, he sold the CD. He went to Vinny. Vinny found the CD. He was curious. He put it in. Vinny enjoyed the CD. But this Jew that you gave it to him didn't even hear. Everything Hashem turns around. If he wouldn't get that call, he would listen to it. Become Shomer Shabbat. Changes his own. It's all Mishamayim. How Hashem does it, we will only know when we get there. What's better? Money for charity or to sponsor myself a ticket to go to the Western Wall to pray to Hashem? Which one is a higher cause? To give money to people that learn Torah, or to go to Uman with the same money? Spend $1,000 on a ticket, or to come to someone who sits all month and learn Torah and say $1,000 L'Shem Shamayim, or that I go to pray by the grave of the tzaddik. Huh? Anybody thinks it's better to go to the Western Wall? Baruch Hashem, all of you are clever. Now what about to go to the grave of the tzaddik? Very good, Shem Tov. If the tzaddik would know that you left the charity to the Bachur Yeshiva and you came all the way to his grave, he will never stop being angry at you for doing such a foolish thing. If he's really a tzaddik. And usually nobody comes to grave for nothing. They come to the grave because this person is supposed to be a big tzaddik. A big tzaddik in Olam HaEmet. Chafetz Chaim said, in this world, when people died, their kids feel an obligation to build on the grave, to make it like a site. Marble from Italy, all kinds of cuts, special, engraved in gold, and make a shelter over there, for the rain. Put some trees around, give some money to the goy to clean the leaves. But when the parents go to Olam HaEmet, they can never stop getting angry at this stupidity. that they spend $10,000 on a piece of stone. It would be 1,000,000 times better for them that the same amount of money you invest on a piece of stone to make their grave pretty, if you invested to save souls and make another 5, 10 Jews Shomrei Shabbos. That will help the parents 1,000,000,000 times more than a beautiful grave. Over there, it's Olam HaEmet. The father or the mother, they say, what a foolish son I have. He means well. He spent $10,000 to make his mother a beautiful grave, or his father. But over there, the parents say, what a fool. Why are you burning money on this shtuyot? My soul is here in heaven or not, whenever the soul is. The grave's going to make a difference for me? In this world, it's all external, show off. But over there, it's 100% crystal, pure and clear. Nobody cares how his grave looks. But this is the way the world is. So if all of you are so smart, all of you say it's better to give the money to charity instead of to going to the grave of a tzaddik, why 30,000 people do not understand that? And they go to graves of the tzaddik every year. If they could take the $2,000 that they spend on a trip and give it to Talmidei Chachamim Aniyim. They have extra? I tell you, one time a guy like this came to my house and he collects money. So I say to him, I'm willing to give you whatever you wanted in one condition, that you won't use my money to go on your trip to Russia. So he say to me, no, well, what do you mean? I mean, I'm collecting for that. I said to him, you can collect whatever you want and you can use your money the way you want. I don't want my money to be used to this. He did not agree to take the money from me. So on the way out, I said to him, at least you're an honest person. Could have fooled me. Could have said, yes, take the money and still use it. He said, if that's the case, I don't want your money. He left. So at least I got saved from losing the money on shtuyot. You understand? So not everybody has extra. Some people collect tzedakah for that. I'm collecting money in a box for some kind of yeshiva, organization, poor family. And now I'm broke myself for a day or two. Can I borrow money from this box? Or I need to call the yeshiva now, since it belongs to them now, and ask them permission to lend the money from this box? Or since I'm the one who collected, they're going to tell me what to do. They have to let me know, to let me do whatever I have to. The answer is allowed or no?
No. If you know for sure you're going to return it. If you know for sure you're going to return it.
If he knows this paycheck coming in 2-3 days, he has how to pay it, it's just stuck for 2 or 3 days, and anyway the due date when they come to collect the money did not arrive, then for sure we can do it. The problem is, what happens if you need to borrow today and tomorrow morning the guy will be here? So you're going to have to tell him, go and come back in 3 days. That's already a problem. Because now you're preventing the tzedakah money for arriving to his destination. And a case like this, you would need to ask them for permission. Next. What's better? When one person's parents passed away, so he has an option to do achnasa sefer Torah. How much? $50,000. Sefer Torah about 30,000, a good one 35,000 even. Ashkenazi, it's another $5,000. So right away can even get to 40,000. And if you want to know why, ask me after the lecture why it's more expensive. There's reasons for it. So now it's the Sefer Torah is very expensive. Now you need the case. So Baruch Hashem, by the Ashkenazim, it doesn't have a big, huge piece of silver that costs $15,000. So they have parochet, I don't know, maybe $100, $200, whatever it is. So it's not so expensive. But if you get like a Syrian Sefer Torah, it can be $80,000 with some beautiful colors and silver and or work of art and the crown. It's very expensive. So a person wants to give Sefer Torah to the shul for the memory of his father or mother or both. What's better? To invest X amount of money in a Sefer Torah or to take the money and give it to learners of Torah? Anybody thinks it's better to do Achnasat Sefer Torah? Not even one? So why all the people do it? Okay, so now there's a good point here. If you do Achnasat Sefer Torah to one of the fancy shuls across the street here that have 80 Sifrei Torah in a room that they don't know what to do with, they don't know what to do. They go into the room, another one, another one. Every week, Achnasat Sefer Torah, party. Every Sunday. Then, of course, what are you going to get out of your money? You're getting Sefer Torah to bury it in a closet? Then for sure you have nothing. But now, the question was, if you give it to a shul that doesn't have a Sefer Torah at all, they need Sefer Torah. It's not going to the closet, it's going to the Aron Kodesh. In a case like that, which one is a bigger zchut for the parent that passed away? To take the money and give it to Torah learner, or to make CDs, to make Baalei Tshuva, which is the highest level of mitzvah today, to make Atzalat Nefashot? As I told you that I sent the guy to Rav Chaim Kanievsky, and he asked him that question, the biggest Talmid Chacham in the world, what's higher, to give to Kiruv, to save Chilonim, to make them religious, or to give to Torah? And everybody know the rule, Limud Torah keneged kulam. Torah for generation is always the highest cause. Rav Chaim told him to give to Kiruv, to Atzalat Nefashot is greater. Yes? But Torah, Atzalat Nefashot is both very, very high causes. The question now, I say Atzalat Nefashot, not Gufot. Atzala saves bodies. Bodies of righteous people, bodies of wicked people. They don't care. They get a call, they come to help. Sometimes something good come out of it. Sometimes something bad come out of it. Right? If they save a person that got choked while he was eating, if they wouldn't save him, he would be dead. And 2 months later, this person murdered 3 people. So the people that saved him eat their heart. Say, I wish I would get delayed. I wish I wouldn't save him. Why did I save him for murdering 3 Jews? What did I get by that? We better he die than the 3 innocent Jews got killed. But obviously he's not an angel. He doesn't know the future. He has an obligation to save life. But we're not talking about this. When you give to Torah, that's it. It cannot go wrong. He went to Torah. Torah, it's Torah. The question is, what's better, to sponsor Sefer Torah or to give to the learners of the Torah? I'm talking a shul that doesn't have a Sefer Torah. What do you think?
So to give it to
Huh?
You want to give the answer to give it to the Limud Torah. You want that answer.
I'm too obvious with my hints.
Sefer Torah to the person to learn.
The answer is, listen good to what I tell you. Listen carefully. If you donate 100 Sefer Torahs, 100, even to shuls who do not have Sefer Torah, shuls that have Sefer Torah, it's needless to say, even to shuls who have to borrow from other shul in the meantime, because after all, without Sefer Torah, you don't have a shul. So when we say they don't have a Sefer Torah, means they do not own one, but they still borrow from other place, which means they have. It's not that they need to learn and they don't have a Sefer Torah. They borrow. Okay. If you sponsor 100 Sifrei Torah in your life, and each one of them was $50,000, you do the math, it's $5 million on Sifrei Torah. It won't be equal to one CD that cost $1 that you gave to Chiloni, and it made him Shomer Shabbat, and he stopped making averot, and he went to sit and learn Torah now in yeshiva. $5 million on Sifrei Torah won't be equal to $1 CD that you gave to a person and became Baal Tshuva. You ask me, and what happened if the guy put the CD in the garbage? So the answer is, so you give 100. One of them would become religious. You're not sure, so give 1,000. Still only $1,000. One of them will become Shomer Shabbat, guarantee. It was already better. Why investing 5 million if for 1,000 you can get a lot more? What makes Hashem much happier? That his children getting saved. There's nothing to compare, Bichlal. Nothing to compare. Nothing to compare. Now leave the kiruv aside for a minute. To learn Torah, people that sit and learn Torah, better the money go to supporting learners of Torah, 1,000,000 times greater than making a new Sefer Torah. Not 2 times, 10 times, 5 times. 1,000,000 times greater. Why? The world has enough Sifrei Torah. If you take all the Sifrei Torah from all over the world and distribute it equally to all the shuls, they will still have extra in the basement that they don't know what to do with. So we don't need. Same thing, the world has too many shuls. The world doesn't need so many shuls. There are many, many shuls, $20 million building. They hardly have 15 people walking the place per day. They keep building 30 million shuls, 35 million, 25 million, 17 million. If they would take all this money that they spend on Jerusalem stone and marble made in Italy and chandelier from the Bowery, you know, if they take this money and spend it of saving souls, we would have 3 more million Shomrei Shabbos Jews in the world today. So obviously, if we only invest the money wisely, it would make everyone happier. What's better? To donate money to write Sefer Torah or to open a shul in a secular community? There's some kibbutz. Nobody is religious there. They know if they open a shul, you know, Yortzeit, Bar Mitzvah, you know, even secular people, they may surprise and show up in a shul. Some people religious 3 days a year. In the Yortzeit of their mother, in the Yortzeit of the father, in a Yom Kippur. 3 days a year they're religious. They come, put kippah, mama, Hashem yirachem. Better than nothing. So the question is, what's better? To give money to open a shul in a secular community, or to sponsor Sefer Torah? The answer, there's no point of sponsoring Sefer Torah to be in a closet. Remember this rule. Of course, to open a shul, even if they don't have exactly what a shul is supposed to have, it's enough that once in a while they're going to make a lecture there, or a bar mitzvah there, or something like that. It's already worth it. Already worth it that something good came out of it. A woman wants to give maaser from her income without telling her husband. Why a woman need to tell her husband that she give money from her maaser? She works in an office, secretary. She make $2,000 a month. Her husband make $10,000 a month. So he has to give $1,000 from his money, minimum. And she has to give from her $2,000, she has to give $200. But really the $2,000 that she makes does not belong to her. It belongs to her husband. So her husband takes the $12,000 altogether, and he has the obligation to give to the places he chooses. Of course, she can consult with him. They can decide together where to give. But the final word, the money belongs to the husband, even if the wife made most of the income. Why? Because when the Torah says that a person has to give his wife her living, clothing, food, place to live, and to write her ketubah in case he died, that she's going to get the first money out of in his inheritance. So the Chachamim made a law. What's the law? Because the Torah protected the woman from all directions, that she's financially secure, she has to contribute in the expenses of the house, and therefore her income belongs to her husband. But a woman can come to her husband and say, you know what, Moshe? Don't give me food, don't give me clothing, don't give me anything. I'm going to support myself. I make enough money. Don't worry about me. I'm waiving your obligation from the ketubah. In a case like this, he cannot take her money. Whatever she makes belongs to her, and then she can do whatever she wants with that. But if she receives a house from him, food, clothing, car, insurance, all the maintenance, she has to give the money and her husband control the money. That's the law. The question now, okay, let's not be so fanatic. I'm giving my husband my income, but I decide that I want to give somebody poor on the street my 10%, and the rest I give to my husband. Is she allowed or no? What do you think?
Her money, got your body.
The answer is, a woman is not allowed to give charity without asking permission from her husband. Unless if he gave her clear permission to give as much as she wants, then she doesn't have to ask anymore. Or she gives very little, $1, 50 cents, $2, amounts that she knows for sure that when he finds out, he won't even make a big deal out of it. But if she knows her husband is mentally ill, which means if she gives a quarter, he reads Tehillim half a day from anger, because his wife, So then she knows that her husband has problems, she shouldn't give. But if it's normal, small amount she can give. People knock on the door, $1, $2, $5, fine. But big amounts, sometimes they come and say, give me a nice check, lady. I came from far. I'm sorry, my husband is not home. I cannot give you. So how she can give him $1 or $2, but more than that, she's not allowed. I committed an amount of tzedakah to one place, and I found out the place is not kosher. They told me there is an institution over here, and I committed to give them X amount of money. Thank you, Moshe. Just for that was worth it for you to come. I say to myself, I can't drink in front of the camera with the bottle. Moshe read my mind. Baruch Hashem. So, a person decided to give to one institution, and after he committed, he found out it's not a kosher place. The one in charge of the money is not an honest person. What do? Are you allowed to switch to another institution? Or since you already committed, you must give them the money, and now you learn your lesson for the future?
But when you commit, you also committed to something. You also assumed you were committing to something that you're finding out is not.
That's the question. Since you assume that you're committing to a kosher cause, and later you found out it's not the case, does it automatically dismiss the vow?
Yes.
Or vow is a vow. Now you have to learn for the future. The answer, the vow is a vow. You cannot dismiss the vow. However, where to give, it does change, which means if this institution, for instance, is a shul, and you just found out it's not a kosher place, you're allowed to take from one shul and give it to a different shul. Or higher, which means you can take it from that institution and give it to yeshiva, because yeshiva it's much higher than a shul. Torah. You can take it from the shul and give it to atzalat nefashot, to people that come learn Torah and become religious. Or the minimum, it has to be equal holy cause, shul to shul. Or shul to something higher, but not something lower. So therefore, if you committed to yeshiva, and you found out something that is not kosher, you can only switch to yeshiva, you cannot switch to shul. Because the shul is not in the level of yeshiva. If you take money you committed to a yeshiva, to Torah, and you give it to a synagogue, you did not fulfill your vow. Why? Ma'alim b'kodesh ve'en moridim b'kodesh. You never lower the cause of the vow, only increasing or keeping the same. You're not allowed to lower. Even if you have tefillin, and the stripes over the ears are very, very old. So you want to take them out, cut a little bit, paint, and then connect it back. You have to make sure that the side that was connected to the house of the tefillin, to the box, will always stay the same one. You make a mark over there. You're not allowed to take the other side, the stripe, the end of the stripe, turn it now and connect it to the house of the tefillin and make the Shem Hashem with that. Why? The piece that was touching the tefillin is holier than the other side. It's holier. It's mamash touching the name of Hashem. Same thing if you have a house and you have a terrace, like what we call a deck, without a roof, and you put mezuzah over there. This mezuzah is not the same obligation like every other room in a house. All the rooms in a house is obligation from the Torah. But a balcony without a roof, it's already out of the house. It's only chayav b'mezuzah miderabanan. It's rabbinical obligation. So if you take the mezuzot down and you want to check them, and now you want to take the mezuzah that was by the front door or by the living room and put it by the deck, it's a problem. Why? This mezuzah was used for mitzvah deoraita from the Torah, and you want to lower it to be used for rabbinical mitzvah. You can take rabbinical obligation and upgrade it to mitzvah deoraita, but you cannot do the other way around. So the rule is clear. When it comes to replacement, you do not lower the cause of the mitzvah. Only higher or the same. Therefore, in a case like this, only if you found the place is not kosher, then you find an equal, identical level cause or higher, and you give the money from here to there, but you cannot take the money to yourself. Oh, since they're not kosher, I got away with giving it. You must give it, but you have to find a kosher place. Questions like this, you never decide on your own. You have to call Chacham, your rabbi, you tell him all the details, you do not leave any detail out, and you do exactly as he instructs you. Why? Because one tiny detail that you don't pay attention can change the entire law. Usually questions like this, you don't open books and read. You need to ask Chacham that knows many, many books in his head and has a lot of experience, and he knows all the details, and he knows exactly in this particular case what to do. It's not a black and white question. It's not like, Rabbi, am I allowed to eat chazir? Yes or no? Every fool knows you're not allowed. Without a rabbi, you know it. So that's no problem. You can open a book and find the answer. No one would say aloud. But certain questions depend. It's also sometimes depend who the person that asks. If it's a new Baal Tshuva, they may tell you you're allowed. If somebody religious 30 years, they tell you absolutely not. It's all a matter of, it's called She'elat Chacham. I have to ask a Chacham. Yes?
I was going to ask, when we read about when Rabbi Akiva's father-in-law came to him and told him that he made that vow, and Rabbi Akiva said, what was your intention when you made that vow?
Yeah.
And then he said that if he knew that he wouldn't then he wouldn't have made it. So he said, so now your vow is nullified.
Right.
Isn't it similar case?
Every vow that a person made based on the wrong information that was given to him, automatically this vow, it's like mekach ta'ut. It's like the vow was made based on false information. That's why when a person finds out that the information was not incorrect, right? For instance, they say, give this person money because he learns Torah non-stop. And then he made a commitment, and then he found out that the last time he opened a book when he used to have black hair. What kind of a vow is that? The vow is dismissed. Why? All the reason he made the vow is for the Torah. What? For his beautiful eyes? You're misleading me? Same thing in marriages. A marriage is the same thing. A person comes to the marriage and is mentally sick. He has records, psychiatric problems, and he hides it from his future spouse. They get married, and then they found out that he was hiding this information. The marriage is canceled. The Beit Din can force the marriage to be canceled even if the husband refused to give a get. They give permission to the woman, your marriage was never in effect. Why? Because the information that was given to you was all a lie. Nobody told you that he's crazy and he was in a hospital the last 3 years threatening to kill people. If you knew it, you would never agree to marry him. You marry him with a condition that is normal. Now you found out that any second that you're with him is a life risk. No one would agree. So that's why they have Beit Din. The Beit Din evaluate the situation. Also, defect in a body. Some defect in a woman's body is hidden very well with the clothing. But later, when they become intimate, he found out certain things she hid from him. That's enough for him to come back and say, if I wouldn't have known it in a million years, I wouldn't agree to get married. So there are cases like this, very, very complicated. Which defects annul the marriage, which one does not. There's all Mishnayot about it, there's Gemarot about it, there's Halachot about it. Let's not get into it now. Next question. If I give tzedakah to a goy, is this considered a mitzvah or no? 3 options. 1 is a mitzvah. 2nd, it's a sin. 3rd, it's nothing. Not mitzvah, not a sin. Like throwing the money to the garbage. Which one of the 3 it is?
Okay, shalom. Since you're going to other people.
Darkei Shalom is when the goy asks you. Then you don't have a choice. He sees you with the kippah, you give him. We are now talking someone on his own. He knows some goy in a neighborhood that is poor. He knock on his door, Vini, I heard you're not doing so well. Don't worry, I'm going to give you X amount of money now. Mitzvah or no? The answer, it is a mitzvah, but giving to your brother, one of the Jews, is a higher mitzvah. So for the same amount, you can get a bigger mitzvah. However, we have the aspect of Kiddush Hashem. You sanctify the name of Hashem. When the goy say, look at this Jew, he is the only one who had mercy on me. Why? Because he's religious. So he fall in love with the religion. What a great religion they have that they come and knock on my door and ask me if I'm hungry. However, when you give it to a poor Jew, it's also Kiddush Hashem. He also thinks like that. Baruch Hashem that you gave the Torah and obligated the rich to search for the poor, to help them out. Same thing. So Kiddush Hashem, you have both ways. And the Torah always emphasizes priority is to your own brother. Your brother comes first.
If the Sandy, they did that, when they built houses, they built for Guy Mosley. And they were so amazed. It was a big Kiddush Hashem.
All right, next question. Is it better to give tzedakah in one shot, one amount, or many small amounts? You want to give 1,000 in one shot, or to break it to 10 times 100? They asked Rav Eliashiv, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. They open a fund to support poor people. The fund can give to 100 poor families 1,000 shekel a month. 100 different families, small amount, only 1,000 shekel, which is about $300 less. Or to give to 50 families, 2,000 each. Which one is better? They ask him. He asked, the answer was to give to 100 poor families. Why? Because each one of them entitled to get tzedakah. Why to give half of them and the other one nothing? They're all entitled, so you divide it equally between them. But we do not have the same question here. We have a different question here. We already give to one cause. Should we give it in one shot or every day a little? Bottom line, if a person wants to now make a donation on a credit card to his rabbi, should he give it in one shot or should he make it in 10 shots, one after the other, in 1 minute? One. Assume there's no extra fees, because the credit card company charging more and more transaction fees. But assume it's no transaction fee. Better to do few little tzedakot or one shot. No, what do you say? No answer?
Small donation.
If it goes to one person, what's the difference? Anyway, it goes to one source. But if you can divide between one or three, and all three are equally kosher, then better to give to the three. But if one is more kosher than the other two, better to give him almost everything. So assume all of them equally kosher, which is very hard to find, that everyone will be equally kosher. Then the more you give, it's better. It's different transaction. Even though they're smaller, you give him, you give him, you give him. But if one is greater than all of them, which means you come to the yeshiva, they have 10 poor kids that learn. One is learning 20 hours a day, and the other 9 learning barely 12 hours a day. So now by investing by him, you're gaining more for one simple reason, because your money brings you more results. Gift that I'm giving as a wedding gift, can I take it out of my maaser? Or it's actually paying for the meal and for the expenses of the wedding? It's a good question, no? Well, this question only applies when the person that gets married is a Talmid Yeshiva. And normally when you go to a wedding, let's say you bring $100. So if you go with your wife, so you bring, let's say, $200. So now you're thinking, I want to give this guy $400. Why? I know he's a poor Talmid Yeshiva. The 2 extra that now on your mind you added because of that, can you take out of your maaser or no?
Oh, yes.
This is very common questions. I'm sure you had it in your mind.
There's a name to it. It's like when you go to work and you go in a kosher place, like taking a command bus so you don't see so many things. There's a name to it, I forgot the name. There's a different tzedakah.
The answer is yes. What you would have given anyway, because you cannot go empty-handed, then you cannot deduct. Because even if it would be Vini from your office, you would still give him a gift, no? Not because he's poor. So basically, the extra amount that you add, because this is a poor Khatan or poor Kala, definitely you can take off your obligation of the Maaser. What comes first? Giving tzedakah or paying your debt? Answer, obviously, to pay money that you owe people. Comes before money that you don't owe. But what happens if you have a mortgage for 30 years? You owe $500,000 to the bank, but it's a payment schedule. You're not behind. Since now you have this mortgage, based on what we just said, you're not allowed to give tzedakah for 30 years. Why? You have an obligation first to pay your debt. Of course not. We're only talking about past due debt, which means you say to this individual, you're going to get your money by this month. And the due date arrives and you're now behind. And now you have extra $500 who got to you, and somebody you know you can give it for tzedakah, or you run to the person that you owe him and give him the money. Then of course you have an obligation to first pay back. However, if you ask him for permission for extension and he doesn't mind, or he tells you, don't worry about the money, I know one day you'll have, you pay, I'm not in a rush, then you have no problem, you can give tzedakah. But if you know he's calling, how are you, Moshe? How do you feel? I saw you the other day. Of course you know he doesn't call to ask how you're doing. He wants to check out what's going on. How's business? You know he's not sleeping at night because of you. Have mercy on the guy. A person wants to do a meal in the yeshiva, bat mitzvah for his daughter, or seudat odaya to Hashem, that the daughter was born. There's no Brit. In Israel, they invented something called Brita. But really, there's nonsense, Brita. So he wants to do Seudat Odaya, to say to Hashem, thank you for giving him Jennifer. It's in America. That's how he called her. So now, can he take out the money of the food for Maaser since he's feeding the Bachurei Yeshiva or no? Or Seudat Odaya to Hashem, it's a separate thing. What are you taking it off your Maaser? How do you thank Hashem if you give something that anyway you had to give? It's your debt, your bill. No, what's the answer?
No, you can give that.
The answer is no. Person wants to buy books from his maaser money. Tefillin with his maaser money. Mezuzot with his maaser money. Allowed or not allowed?
If you benefit others.
The rule, maaser can be used only for things that you do for others, not for yourself. Which means, if you buy tefillin for others, or even for yourself, but it's a mutual tefillin, for you and a group, everybody, as per it's in yeshiva, everyone can use it every day, can deduct it from the maaser. You buy mezuzot for poor people who do not have, you can deduct from your maaser. Books, you want to keep them in your house, to learn in them. You want to deduct it from the maaser. So how do you do it? You announce that you have a library in your house. Anyone can come every day between this time and use the books as much as they want, borrow, write their name, return, erase their name. You make it a public book, which means at any moment someone can surprise you and take it. Which means you are not the sole owner of those books. Or you even keep them in a shul. Well, you can put your name on it, that you know where they are, but in general, you leave it for the use of the public, even though you really bought it for yourself. You're the one that want to learn right now in this book. But you say, what do I care? I leave it in yeshiva. Let other people learn when I'm not there. As long as I finish my reading and I want to write what I want to learn. In a case like this, you're allowed. If you only keep it in yourself, in your house, you have to pay from your own money, yes. Now, this is a good point. Are you allowed to use the money to pay for your children yeshiva? Technically, every one of us has an obligation to teach his children directly. Since we are either lazy, or we don't have time, or we don't have the knowledge, or we don't have the patience, or we don't have the skills, or all the above together, we are hiring a professional to teach our children for us. So it's our obligation. I have to do it. Now I'm asking someone a favor, do the job that I have to do, and I will pay you money for it. So how exactly I'm using it as a maaser if he works for me? He benefits me and saves me headache, and in return I give him money. However, the poskim are lenient with very poor people that mamash don't have what to eat. And if you obligate them to give maaser, they will be forced to put their children in public school or things like that. Then they tell them, you better use this money of the maaser for your own children and put them in yeshivot. Especially the girls, because there's no obligation to teach the girl Torah.
Well, if you have a single mother that puts her children.
Single mother, you're right. She doesn't have a husband to teach them Torah. So in a case like that, but even a single mother has an obligation to teach Torah to the kids, or at least to sponsor a melamed. It's her obligation, because she has to raise them. Raising the children without Torah is like raising a species, not people. Because a person without Torah, I don't want to tell you in this generation, especially how it turns out. Next question. Time is running out. I'm a babysitter, teenager, 15 years old, 16. I'm doing babysitting for neighbors. Do I have to give maaser from this money, or it's not an official income? The answer, yes.
Is it considered maaser to give a viable person's tzitzit?
Yes. Anything I said that you buy for others for mitzvah, yes. You can deduct from your maaser. Next question. Which mitzvah is greater? To go to participate in a Brit Milah or to go to a wedding? Brit Milah or wedding? לשמח חתן וכלה or to participate in a Brit Milah?
Who went to the morning was that night? Exactly.
Huh? Where is what? When what?
One morning was that night. Go to both. It's not a problem.
We didn't say, I didn't say when they both at the same time which one you should attend. That wasn't the question. I say which one is the bigger mitzvah. Brit Milah for the father, for sure. The people who participate in the Brit Milah, what makes it more important than running to the wedding and making the Khatan happy? But then again, you can say the same thing about participating in a Brit Milah, makes the father happy that people came to his simcha. So the answer, it's equal. However, if it comes at the same time, you ask, how can it be? Brit is in a day and wedding is in a night. You probably never heard of the Bukharian. They have the wedding in the afternoon, the chuppah, and then they fake the wedding in the night. They already had the chuppah, some of them. They have this custom. Why? To prevent ayin hara. In the time of the chuppah, so they make chuppah only to certain people. They make it during the day, and later on they make the party, 7 floors of food. So in case that it falls in the same time, then you go to the place that will need you more. If you know in a Brit there's hardly any people, then you go there. In a wedding there's not enough people to be mesameach the chatan, it would look empty, then you go over there. Akol lefi ha'inyan. Are you allowed to participate in Brit Milah between an intermarriage couple? Jew that marry a goy. Now they have a kid and they make a Brit Milah. So Baruch Hashem, we have black hats in this year. So right away they ask a good question. Who the mother and who the father in a case like this? If the mother is goya, the kid is a goy. What Brit Milah? Take him to the church. Father Tony will drown him in the water. The doctor. We're obviously talking that the wife is the Jew and the father is Muhammad. So the question now, the kid is a Jew. The mother is a Jew, the kid is a Jew. Are you allowed to participate or no?
Yes.
I saw an answer that the Mohel is not allowed to do Brit Milah to this Jewish kid because of the Chilul Hashem. Mamash like this. I was shocked when I read it.
So what do you do with the child?
Huh? Rav Eliashiv. You're a Mohel, she calls you up. I'm Jewish, my husband is Muhammad or Chris. I had a kid. Tomorrow it's the 8th day. Can you come do the Brit Milah? And everyone over there would see her married to the goy, which is a big violation of the Torah. And everything is fine. Everyone accepted. Don't worry, Rabbi is a pro-Israel. He's a Zionist. John is a Zionist. The restriction is because John is a bad person? What's the connection? John is an angel. He's a great guy. He donates $1 billion a year to poor Jews in the world. He's a lover of Hashem. Torah say the Jew is not allowed to marry goyim, regardless who is better, who is not. It's nothing to do with who is better. Since it's a violation right now as we speak, they're standing over there as big chilul Hashem. So it's a penalty on the woman that her children will not be circumcised. However, if they do it halacha lemaaseh, I don't think so. It's one of these things that the halacha said that Mechalel Shabbos cannot be one of the Minyan, but almost in all over the world, when they come Mechalel Shabbat and he's the 10th one, they use him for the Minyan, even though it's against the law. The law is Mechalel Shabbat is 100% like a goy. It cannot be a part of the Minyan. But how many shuls are makpid on it? Only the ultra Orthodox shuls are careful about this law. All the Hafif shuls, what we call datilonim, half and half, everybody is welcome.
Here it's different. He needs a brit. He's Jewish.
I know. Of course, a Jew needs a Brit Milah.
Why is it?
But the question is, the Brit Milah is an obligation on the father. And John is the father, John is the goy. John doesn't have the obligation. So what's going to happen with this kid? When he becomes bar mitzvah, he has an obligation to circumcise himself, which means he's going to go to the Mohel, and they will circumcise him. Up to the bar mitzvah, the obligation is on no one, because the father is a goy. When the kid becomes bar mitzvah and is not circumcised, now the obligation falls on him.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say someone, he realized only later that he was Mechalel Shabbat many times, and he didn't know. Is he still considered Yehudi?
He was Mechalel Shabbat many times, and what? Well, he didn't know what?
He realized that he didn't realize that carrying.
He didn't know.
Yeah, he carried all the time.
If he was Mechalel Shabbat unintentionally, because he didn't know the specific law, that's not an actual criminal who comes on purpose to violate the rules of God. That's ignorance. For ignorance, you also pay a price. But it's not the same when someone knows that Shabbat is a holy day and drives the car. No. Somebody like that can be a part of the Minyan. You should know one thing that many Jews do not know. If you have 9 Jews in a shul, and one Jew, Shomer Shabbat, sleeping on a table, snoring, you hear he snores. This snoring guy, Mashlim Minyan. You can say Kaddish, even though he's sleeping, only 9 answer. But he's here, you can say Kaddish, you can say Kedusha, you can take out Sefer Torah. But you have a Mechalel Shabbat that is perfectly awake, the Prime Minister of Israel. Awake and clever, understand, and even answer Amen. Is not Mashlim Minyan. You cannot say Kaddish. You cannot take out Torah, you cannot say Kedusha. This is the law. If people keep the law, in 80% of the places in the world, the answer is no. In the strict yeshivot, yes, almost in all of them, they don't give aliyah to Mechalel Shabbat, they don't count him as a Minyan, they know the rules. In places that people learn Torah, they know the rules. Regular places, people either do not know the rules, or they turn to forget the rule on purpose. Why? They don't want the headache of the argument.
And a big shaila about Yaakov and that's king. There's somebody very religious too. Yaakov told him he's not allowed to fast. And Yaakov said we have to wait for one more. We can't count them from Minyan to read the Torah.
But that's very interesting, because if he's anus, not to fast, is not a criminal.
Yaakov said no, and he didn't listen.
He was fasting anyway. That's risking his life. That's the difference.
And now let him use him for the Minyan to read.
That's a nice chidush to hear.
Can I ask you a question, Rabbi? I don't know if you have 9 people and you know them, and the 10th one is somebody that comes in that you don't know who he is. How would you consider him? Would you go and ask him if he is?
No. If you do not know for sure is Mechalel Shabbat, you go by how he looks. If you saw he came to the shul, long ponytail, 2 earrings over here, full of tattoos. He takes the kippah from the box and he put, you know he's Mechalel Shabbat. You don't need to ask. If he comes with kippah, peot, or maybe even a beard, or maybe a hat, whatever, you don't need to ask. You assume that he's Shomer Shabbat.
You assume, it doesn't mean that.
Assume is halakha. It's called chazakah. It's called certainty. The person has a kosher look. He can be a faker, 100%. He can look like a Hasidish Rebbe, and he's Mechalel Shabbat, but he doesn't want his parents to know, so he puts a custom. It's not my obligation to investigate every Hasid who comes, excuse me, are you off the derech or you on the derech? It's not my obligation. I look at the person, look, Yerei Shamayim, I'm counting him. When I come to Shamayim, they tell me, you know, this Yoili was Mechalel Shabbos, living with a shikse. But he looked like that because he didn't want his parents to know and his siblings to suffer in Shidduchim. Is that my obligation to guess that? No. However, if I see a guy, long ponytail, tattoos, short pants, came inside, take kippah like this, and look at the siddur, and he hold the siddur upside down. Or I see him in Shachrit Leyom Kippur. I don't have to ask him, excuse me, are you Shomer Shabbat? I already know he's not. Why is he doing in a shul? His father died. They told him, go say Kaddish. You understand? So this it. It's only go by chazakah, even though sometimes you can be mistaken, but we go with what our eyes can see. Next question. We have a very delicate, very, very sensitive issue in our generation about a mohel that comes to do Brit Milah. After they cut, they suck the blood and spit it out. They have to make the blood comes out by sucking it out. And then the blood starting to come naturally. So it's a matter of 1 second. However, what God forbid happen if this mohel have AIDS? He can chas v'shalom infect the baby, or herpes, which is a more common disease. So in our generation, they make a lot of noise now, the Reform, the conservative, and secular people, and the Goyish authorities in the United States, in some other countries. They want to cancel this minhag of the mohel is sucking the blood from the baby because it's dangerous, it can be contagious.
Israel's now the law.
So somebody came up with a solution that he will use a straw. He would not directly use his mouth. He would be taking the blood with a straw. And all the big Rabbanim in the world went crazy when they heard it. After 3,300 years, you dare to offer this kind of reform solutions? And they even, mamash, put in cherem that rabbi that suggested that. Not officially, but mamash, his reputation got hurt very much. The question is, if the baby can get infected, why that rabbi said something that is incorrect? I mean, pikuach nefesh, we have a rule in the Torah that any life risk prevent all the mitzvot of the Torah except 3. You should not kill, no idol worshipping, and you should not do gilui arayot. But any other mitzvah, when there is a life risk, is being put on hold. In a case like that, if there's a risk that the baby will get infected, why not to take precaution against infecting him?
I think they're worried the other way. The baby has,
Or maybe the baby has from his parents and now the mohel can get it. And then later on he will pass it to other babies. So the answer is, God forbid to change without permission from Gdolei Ador, and no one approved to change. So that's the rule. But we have to understand the logic. What's the logic? The logic is the chance that a baby would get a disease from a mohel is lower than the chance that a person will get killed by crossing the street. It's very, very far probability. In 50, 60 years that we do Brit Milah, millions all over the world, only 2 or 3 babies, supposedly, it's still not proven, got infected in something in Brit Milah. For millions. It's not even a promille of a percent. From that to start changing a tradition, which is one of the foundation of Judaism of Brit Milah, Nobody can do that. However, chas v'shalom, God forbid, if we lived in a time of epidemic, if there was some kind of disease that 30% of the people in a community has it, which means 1 out of 3 Mohalim may has it, then it become a life freeze. That's a different story. What's the point of giving the mitzvah and every person would die from a sickness? Someone told me, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know. If any one of you know, tell me that people that have herpes, when it's coming out, they have blisters around their mouth. And when the blister comes out, it's very contagious, they can pass it. But if the blisters are not coming out, they mean the disease is very low now. It's not contagious as it is when the blister comes out. So therefore, a mohel, if he has it and he see blisters, of course he won't go to circumcise because he knows right now he has the attack. He'll send someone else.
Yeah, they say it's only if the person has a cut also.
Or if he has a cut in his mouth, okay.
What if a person
If the
does
mother has a
that?
cold, he shouldn't be there.
Even a cold, yeah, he can get the baby a cold. It's also dangerous for babies. Their immune system is very weak when they just born. Yeah.
If a person does not do this minhag, is it a sin? Is it not counted Brit Milah?
No, it's a part of the Brit Milah. It's not minhag. It's halacha to do it. Halacha to do metzitza b'peh. It's halacha. It's not minhag.
So a person doesn't.
They have to do it. It's an incomplete Brit Milah.
Someone else could do it.
Easy sense the father should do it.
Yeah, worst comes to worst. If the father is worried or whatever, he can do it. He can do it. It's no problem.
If the baby carries something that can transfer to the mohel.
Only if it's a cut.
So
Really, the one that should complain was the mohel. But you know what they do? They put rubbing alcohol in their mouth, lots of it, and it's burning like fire. You ever put a lot of rubbing alcohol? They giggle in their mouth. I saw the mohel spitting it in a thing, and then he does it. Which means the amount of alcohol kills the germs instantly, if there are any. Anyway, huh?
He's not swallowing, he spits it out.
No, it spits it out. Of course it spits it out. Question, what is the source of the custom to come to the Sandak in a Brit that will give you a blessing? Every Sandak became Baba Sali for a day. What is this? Maybe it's nonsense. What is this? Sandak Mechalel Shabbat, the head of the mafia. Tony, come, hold my baby. Now you're going to come to him. Excuse me, Al Capone, come give me bracha. You're laughing? In Israel, it's a common thing. The head of the mafia, some of them has kippah. They sit in Shabbat in a shul. They run the show. And they have extortion system. They're extorting people. They're blackmailing them. And all of a sudden, he's a sandak. Everyone stand online to get from this hitman to get a bracha from him. You're laughing? It happens in Israel every month at least once. If you ask a typical Israeli, who do you want to be the sandak of your son? Rav Aaron Leib Shteilman or Rav Chaim Kanievsky, or the best soccer player in the league? 99% of them would say the soccer player. Why? People would take picture. What, they're going to take picture with this old man with the white beard? Where am I going to break to my friend in Tel Aviv? This guy, he knows how to kick a piece of leather very hard. Wow, people would put me in a newspaper thanks to him. I'll be famous. I remember many years ago, I was invited to be Sandak in a restaurant in Queens Boulevard. It was one of my first Sandakuyot. So I was young, I was excited, and today I don't even go. If I get invited, I say, no, take this one, don't have time. But back then it was exciting. So finally I went, mikveh, I prepared myself for the mitzvah. I come, restaurant, maybe 100 guys, Israeli, men, women, they all came. The owner of the restaurant was my friend. He only gave me that because I probably was the only religious guy he knew. So come, I want you to be Sandak. Okay. Now I'm so excited, I'm going to be Sandak. I was maybe 20-something years old. All of a sudden, just a minute before the Brit arrived, I see a red Mercedes convertible comes, parking mamash in front of the restaurant. Guy, tons of gel in his hair, skinny, tall guy, look like one of these movie stars, comes inside like this. Who is the father of the baby? I show him this guy. I see he comes, he talks to him, whispers something in his ear. I say, something is fishy here. A minute later, he comes to me and says, my friend, this guy, I don't know who he is, he just offered me $5,000 to be Sandak. Forgive me, please. I need the money. $5,000. Question is, what was in the mind of this secular guy when he saw people there? He asked around outside, they told him a Brit, he came inside, he wants to be Sandak.
You had the extra 1,000, you did this wrong. You could have given a lot of tips.
The answer was, shh. Now let's see. The answer is, the source of this custom is unclear. It's true that in many books, in recent generations, they speak very highly about it. Sandak, it's like Makrif Ketoret, Sgula La'ashirut, all kinds of beautiful words. Well, we didn't find it in a Gemara. In a Talmud, nobody spoke about it. But if it was such a big, important thing, the Gemara would have to say at least a word about it. Who? It's a little bit hard to know. Dargum Yonatan ben Uziel, if there's any source to it, the closest one to it is Targum Yonatan. It says like this, Al HaPasuk, Simcha Elohim ke'Ephraim u'ke'Menashe, by Yosef, yes. So this is the source. What I'm talking about, the source. Where is the source that people come to the Sandak to give them bracha? So the answer is, that's the closest source to this custom. Next thing, can a person be Sandak in the same family twice? For one kid and then for his brother?
Grandfather,
The answer is yes. Is it true that a barren woman that cannot have kids for many years, if she will swallow the orla of the baby that was cut, it's gula that she will become pregnant? You heard that, right? I'm not making it up, obviously. Huh?
My mother did it. Of my cousin, no, it is no.
Rega, your mother did it and you were born?
No.
Thanks to that?
My cousin.
Because I was about to change my answer if you would tell me yes.
They're supposed to have a boy, right?
The answer is strange nonsense. Strange nonsense. I would pay money to know who the fool who made it up.
We got it straight.
My friend lived with his girlfriend without marriage, and they had a boy. And he invites me to the Brit. Am I allowed to participate in this Brit or no? They're not married. It's a kid out of the marriage, not mamzer. Yeah. Jewish kids, two Jewish couple. They live together without marriage. Am I allowed to go to the Brit or no? The answer, not allowed. En mechazkim yedei ovrei avera. You do not make the hands of the sinner stronger in any possible way. You demonstrate by not walking, by not going there.
What if they,
I know what you want to say.
what if they got pregnant before they got married?
What if what?
What if she was pregnant and then they got married?
Oh,
And then she had the baby after?
Right before the brit.
if they got married at the time of the Brit, it's kosher now, the time of the Brit. They married couple, they have an obligation to circumcise the kid. Chatzi nechama. I thought you asking me what happened if the guy is your brother. Now it's going to cause a big issue in a family. Shlom bayit.
So what's the answer there?
The father gets angry. You don't want to come to your brother's Brit Milah for his son? You the uncle of the baby, you spilling my blood. Your father is ready to kill someone. I had one time a case that a Jewish guy, one of my Balei Tshuva, American, intelligent, smart, beautiful human being, his brother married Christine. And he said to him, I'm very sorry, I cannot come to your wedding. You go against Hashem, I cannot participate. The father was drilling in my head the entire day before the wedding, non-stop, to convince his son to come to the wedding at least for an hour, to show his face. For his ego. What the people gonna do, all these American Jews? Where is your son? Well, my son doesn't want to participate in a crime against God. They don't understand. His father already see what's coming to him. The father already got the point after I explained it to him. I understand it's the law, Rabbi, and I'm not telling you to change the law. I know you didn't give the Torah. I know you're not God. I know that, believe me, but... Yeah.
Okay, this goes back to being like a Sandak and a guy that's not Mechalel Shabbat being a Sandak. What if the guy that Mechalel Shabbat, like you have to do it for respect for your father? What do you do? What if it's your father and you have to do it?
It's a very common problem that sometimes the father is not Shomer Shabbat of the Kala or the Chatan, and the son has a very big dilemma. He wants somebody big tzaddik to be the Sandak, and the father gets very upset, especially sometimes the parents even pay the expenses of the Brit. It's a very, very big dilemma. The answer is, the belief is that the Sandak passed from his good to the baby by holding him in the time of the Brit Milah. That's the tradition, the belief. Therefore, you want somebody very worthy to be the Sandak, not just anybody. Someone that has success, good life, lots of Torah, holiness. So if the father is a decent human being, which means logical, if he can take him on the side and say to him, my father is nothing personal, it's your interest and my interest that your grandson and my son will have this big rabbi to be Sandak. Don't go into you Mechalel Shabbat, you Rasha, none of this. Just, you good, but there's somebody that is better than all of us. And it's a very good thing for the kid, and you show him in books. Hopefully it works out. But if you have a macho father, and he wants to be the top authority, and he doesn't give up, to prevent war, you're allowed to give him. But for the war, not because it's allowed, because war, it's a bigger sin than... So what do you do in a case like that? You read all day Tehillim, you take 10 people, you give them even money, all day to read Tehillim, that the bad traits and the sins of this father will not pass to the baby. I remember one time I asked a big rabbi, still alive, 15 years ago, I asked him that question, and he said to give it to the father, and he himself will pray all day to Hashem, that this baby will not be influenced by him. And he didn't even know that. I came to ask for someone. He said, you give me the name, all day I'll pray. Why? It's worth it for me all day to pray for them, to prevent fight in a family. This is how he looked at that.
I have a question. Jews who are living out of wedlock for some time, is it better for them to just get a rabbi and two witnesses because they're not able to afford a $10,000 wedding?
Sure. I made it many times. I saw a boyfriend and a girlfriend that lives together. They couldn't afford to separate and pay double rent. They could not afford to get married and make a big bombastic Bukharian wedding. You know, so what are you going to do? Who knows, maybe the next time they'll have money for wedding will be when they'll be 75. Maybe by then they can afford a wedding. So what are we going to do, sit and wait? So the rule is, you don't wait for money. You do with what you have. You don't have it all, you make a simple meal, you bring 10, 20 people, they bring everyone cook, like the way it used to be 50 years ago in Israel. You know how people used to get married? On Friday afternoon in a backyard of the neighborhood. There's some sand over there. They put some tables and chairs. Everyone cooks something. One woman cooked chicken, one rice, Persian rice, Bukharian rice, burekas. Everyone brings. They make Khatan and Kala. They hold chuppah like this in a backyard, Friday afternoon, and there's Seudah. It's Seudat Shabbat because there's no money for 2 Seudot. So now when the wedding finished, they go directly into Seudat Shabbat, the family. That's how it was. Yeah, today, Rabbi, I want $90,000 flowers. Without that, I'm not showing up to the wedding. I'm sorry. What is this? It's enough. He only gave me 4 carats and he promised me 5. I won't come.
Another carrot, $90,000.
So,
Is there respect issue? Let's say I had the bris on my grandson, and my father, am I allowed to accept or I have to give it? My father picked up.
to accept what? Are you allowed?
Accept Sandak, or I have to give it to my father because
If he never been, it's better for you to give him. If he never been, but if you already got one sandakut, you're also entitled to get one. Mamash, before we finish, last thing for today. Brit Milah that falls on Shabbat. And you know the family is not Shomrei Shabbat. They'll come from all over with a car. Is it better to postpone it to Sunday? The Torah says the Brit Milah must be on Shabbat, on the 8th day. Which if born in Shabbat, then 8th day will be the following Shabbat. So is it better to postpone it to Sunday and prevent 50 or 100 cars to come on Shabbat and make the biggest Chilul Hashem?
Yes.
Or you have to do it on time and the sinners will pay the price?
you don't tell us. Make a party Sunday.
Sunday,
Shabbat is only the breed, no party.
You have to do that. A lot of people, when it's on Shabbat.
The answer is postpone the Brit for preventing a big Chilul Shabbat and Chilul Hashem. What's the source? Yalkut Yosef and Harav Eliashiv. Kovetz Bet Midrash Tammuz, Tafshin Ayin Aleph, Ayin Bet. That's Harav Eliashiv this question, and also Yalkut Yosef is based on the words of Rav Ovadia Yosef. His son wrote it. So you have 2 big poskim about it. I asked the...
He says it's still Hashem, because since you only need Sheva and actively
could be.
Kuba said doesn't apply.
All right. ביקשתי מהרב הסנדק לברך אותי. I asked the rabbi, the Sandak, one big rabbi was a Sandak, so I came to him and I asked him, a woman, I asked him to give me a blessing for good health and to have an easy labor. She is supposed to give birth. And instead of that, he told me, I'm blessing you that you be מתחזקת בתורה על יראת שמיים, and you do tshuva very soon. But that's not what I asked. I'm not interested. I want good health and easy labor. So I'm very disappointed in this rabbi. I'm asking him for bracha and he tells me to be yirat shamayim and this. I'm not asking you for that. The answer is the blessing that he gave you is much better than the one you asked for. You compare 2-3 hours of suffering in labor than saving your eternity. He gave you a blessing that you're going to be ba'alat tshuva. What's more important than that? Better than wealth, better than health, better than easy labor, better than anything you can think of. What happens if a very wicked Jew come to a rabbi to ask for a blessing? By law, is he allowed to give him a blessing or no?
Yeah.
Allowed or not allowed? Big Rasha. Let's think. First option, what you say, what do you want? He's a Jew, give him a blessing. First option. Second option, how you dare to give him a blessing? You're going to give him now a blessing to be richer, to be more wealthy. He's going to make more sins. Also, you bless him to be successful in his businesses. He's going to stay open on Shabbat for more years. Rather, if you bless him that he's going to go bankrupt and lose all his businesses, he's not going to be Mechalel Shabbat anymore in public. So maybe that's better. What he thinks is a curse is a blessing. What he thinks is a blessing, it's a curse. So what's the solution? And now if you won't give him a blessing, what a Lashon Hara we're going to have in the next 35 years.
You bless him like one before, like you bless the pregnant woman.
So this is the solution. The solution is, I'm blessing you that thanks to you accepting on yourself a new mitzvah that you're not keeping. You tell him, do you put tefillin? No. If you accept tefillin on yourself, my bracha will have something to hold to. Thanks to you accepting tefillin on yourself, you should get health and atzlacha, and you will be zoche to be Baal Tshuva. You always push the Tshuva. Whatever he asks, fine. The most important thing, you push the Tshuva inside. But if he refuses to accept any mitzvah, it's a problem. How can you give him bracha? It means you agree with his corrupted way of life against Hashem. If Hitler would come to me and say, give me a blessing that will be successful, what am I going to say to him? מי שברך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב, הוא יברך את אדולף בן הנס. What's going on? Right away, my reputation is destroyed for eternity. Right? But if I'm going to say to Hitler, יימח שמו וזכרו, you want a bracha from me? I'll give it to you. If you accept on yourself to leave extra 1,000 Jews alive than your plan, then I'll give you a bracha. Thanks to you agreeing to he wrote it for me. Why, I come to Shamayim, what is Hashem going to say to me? Why you gave this monster a blessing? I said, I gave him a blessing. My mind was how to save 1,000 Jews. That was on my mind. In my heart, I cursed him 1,000,000 times. But if I can prevent if I can prevent sins to be done in the world, thanks to this bracha, why not? Yes.
Oh, there it is.
What?
Yeah, Esav a bracha. No one can say so.
Yitzchak gave Esav a bracha thinking Esav is a big tzaddik. You forgot that. He thought, Esav come to him, Abba, I have salt. How do I make maaser on a salt? Since when you do maaser on a salt? It's such a machmir, mamash, Esav. You should see Esav had this, what do you call it again? Gartel. Long beard, long peos, fair hat, put like this. Esav come to Yitzchak. He said to him, Abba, how do I do maaser for the salt? This father thing, what a ben tzaddik I am. Hard to understand how he fooled him, but I'm talking based on the pshat. There's a lot of midrashim about it. Ay. There's a fight between me and my wife for the first boy that was born to us. Who's going to be the Sandak? My father or my husband's father? Who comes first? Preferably, the father of the father comes first, then the father of the mother. But if it's going to cause a fight, better the husband will give in to his wife, make her happy, than her father will be. Or if they know that between the two grandpas, right, the father of the father is very humble, down to earth, and it's tzaddik, he's not going to make a big deal out of it. And the other one is a very loud loser that will make a big fight in the whole family. So what are you going to do? You're going to give it to him, the whole family will have 20 years of fights. So you give it to him first, you read Tehillim all day. That is, midot will not go to the baby, and the next time, Bezrat Hashem will be next time, you give it to the father of the thing. I don't have in my town an Orthodox Mohel, only conservative one. Am I allowed to use him?
No, that's fine, but it's reported in Shema.
Shomer Shabbat.
Is he Shomer Shabbat? It's the same thing as
The answer, lechatchila, of course not. There's no other option. The rule is that everyone who knows how to cut is kasher to cut. Basically, you don't have anyone. It's not like one of these things that you say, oh, you're mechalel Shabbat, you're not allowed to be mohel. But it's very interesting because we have to dig into it a lot more than this lecture now. If a mechalel Shabbat slaughter, the slaughtering is not kosher, even if he did everything 100% glad kosher, according to the halacha. Apikos or mechalel Shabbat, shchitato nevela. In that case, if he mal the baby, if he circumcised the baby, the conservative is also mechalel Shabbat, also big apikos. Why over here is gonna be kosher? The answer is we're not talking lechatchila that there's an Orthodox one and a conservative. We're talking there's nobody to do brit. It's either this or him. Better him than nothing. But lechatchila, better someone that is the first Brit Milah in his life than this conservative who did 1,000 already, that knows how to do it. Why? Always things like this, you go by the highest level of tzaddik. My uncle married a goya, and they make Brit Milah by a doctor, because they know the kid is a goy, and no Mohel would agree. And they make a party, and the doctor comes and does it. And he invited me to the party, and if I won't come, he already warned me that he's going to get very offended. What should I do? Peace? Let me go. Oh, it's not a regular Brit Milah. There's no brachot. It's like a goy. Brit Milah of a goy in a hospital. They also circumcised. Can I go now? If he does Brit Milah with Mohel and they make brachot levatala, pretending the kid is a Jew, I understand. But here, it's like two goyim, my neighbor. You know, Chris and Christine, they have John. They say, come on, we invited the doctor to circumcise. We'll make a party. We'll invite for you from Milmart, glad kosher sandwich. Just come, be with us. With the two goyim is allowed. With the uncle who married the goya, absolutely not allowed. Because he's a big criminal. And don't let them change your mind that they're righteous. And don't let them fool you that they get offended. They can get offended as much as they want. We don't care about them. We only care about what Hashem, if Hashem get offended, not my uncle, with all due respect to him. Hashem is the only one that should be our interest. If the whole world would be happy and Hashem would be offended, what did you do by that? If the whole world would be upset at you and Hashem is so happy from you, Matzat chen be'enei Hashem. Noah, everyone hated him. Everyone made fun at him. He was building the ark for 120 years and everyone spit at him and make fun at him, crazy, lunatic. And the Torah says, Ve'noach matzah chen be'enei Hashem. Noah found favor in the eyes of Hashem. The people that drowned, all the wicked people, they hated him. But Noah did not move an inch from what Hashem told him to do.
That was ultimately a Kiddush Hashem, but what about if...
what a surprise! You're here all the time. All right, listen.
What if, it's something like the uncle is married to a non-Jew, and the uncle will be very upset, and maybe a chil Hashem because you insulted them.
All right, so this is exactly what I answered. We don't care who gets upset. We care what Hashem did to do. Many parents are upset that their son became religious and is Shomer Shabbat. So based on what you say,
What I'm saying is
let's not offend the parents because they're very upset that I became religious.
Their non-Jewish friends will then think, oh, these Jews have no manners, like that. Still don't care.
No, we have background music, you see, for your question. It's good for the video.
People say, well, they have no manners.
The answer is, I think it's a sign that the shiur comes to an end. I tell you what, you have a very good point. When we think with the heart, your point is very convincing. Right. The goyim will get offended, the uncle would get offended, your own parents will get angry at you, your father that his brother married to that goya will tell you, come on, don't be fanatic, just come, pretend you came, say a little bit few words, 10 minutes and run. But we have to understand one thing. By giving in to all these sinners, we actually weakening the power of Hashem and the Torah. By coming to them and say, I'm with you, nothing happened, everything is fine. Then all the people who has in mind, maybe one day I'm going to make that sin, what would prevent them from doing it? If everyone welcoming them, come. You understand? I give you an example. There is one rabbi somewhere in New York that make Leila Seder. So some Israelis married to Goyot, and they don't have a place to go to Leila Seder because their family is in Israel. So they ask me, am I allowed to take her to Leila Seder? I say, absolutely not. Leila Seder is celebration that Hashem saved us from these nations, and finally we came to liberation. You don't do that. So what happened? He goes to this fake one, and he said, of course, bring her in. I'll pour the 4 cups for her. Now you have to understand, we don't have anything against Christine. She may be a wonderful human being. She may be a fantastic, honest person. She may even be a lover of Hashem. I have no doubt that she's better than many, many other women in our nation. That's not the issue here. We do not discriminate against any human being. We only follow the divine laws. We don't mix our own feelings and our opinion and what's gonna come out of it. The last one who did that lost his kingdom. Shaul thought like you. He said, Hashem told me to kill everyone in Amalek. And he also told me to kill all the animals. But what's the point of killing so many animals, millions of dollars? Let me take the sheep and I'll sacrifice them to Hashem. I'll gain $10 more million saving because we have to sacrifice our sheep. We want to eat our sheep. Why should we? We take this sheep. Anyway, we kill the owners of the sheep. We'll take the sheep. We'll sacrifice it all to Hashem. Not for me. I'm not going to eat the meat of that sheep. And Hashem said to Shmuel, go fire him from his kingdom. Why? Because Shaul made the calculation. I do something better than what Hashem told me. Why should I kill innocent animal? He has a very good point. Very convincing point. What happened in the end? Hashem punished him. Shlomo HaMelech took 1,000 princesses. He taught them Judaism and he sent them back to the country to spread the greatness of God all over the world to prevent idol worshipping. What was his end? Hashem punished him. Why? He meant well. He wanted to spread the glory of Hashem all over the world. Why he deserved a punishment? Because he did not stick to the divine instructions. When Hashem gave the Torah, he did not know that the Goyim would get offended. Sure he did. He did not know that your parents would get offended when you are Shomer Shabbat and they are not, and they drive to the shul and you refuse to get in a car. They won't know that there will be fights like this every Shabbat all over the world between teenagers to their parents. The boy does not want to be Mechalel Shabbat, and his father is screaming and barking, get in a car. Hashem knew that. Why didn't Hashem allow to give in to the sinners to prevent fights? No, the opposite. So we are not settling or giving in or lowering the requirements of the Torah. When a Jew marry a non-Jew is a very, very, very big crime. When a Jew makes a one-time sin with a non-Jew, it's a crime. It's a big crime, but it's a one-time crime. It could be that tomorrow he made tshuva and he won't do it again. We don't throw him out and say, you're done. No. Tomorrow he's going to meet a Jew, he get married, he's Shomer Shabbat. The sin is forgotten. But when a person gets married to a non-Jew, which means I put an X on Hashem, on the community, on the rabbis, I don't care. We, at that moment, don't have permission to cooperate with his crimes. We cannot go to his wedding. We cannot go to a Brit Milah, whether the kid is a Jew or not. We're not allowed to do it. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is crying in this wedding. You want to be dancing over there? The nation of Israel went to the party of Achashverosh. Achashverosh gave them a lot of respect. He made a section glad kosher with mashgiach, kosher wine, glad kosher meat, everything for the Persian Jews. He made them a section called Great Neck. Section. So all the Persian Jews danced together, not with the Muslims, the Goyim. There was no Islam yet. Achashverosh is 1,000 years before. So why Hashem got so angry at the Jews? They all have to die. They went to a glad kosher section. Ma, what do you want? Chilul Hashem, Chilul Hashem. He's taking the treasures of Bet HaMikdash that he robbed, and he make a show, come see, and the Jews, they see all the treasures of Bet HaMikdash, and they come dancing, Persian music. But the Jews did not destroy Bet HaMikdash. The Jews cannot restore Bet HaMikdash. The Jews did not eat non-kosher. What did the Jews do? They give respect to the king. The king get angry. The answer is, Hashem say, oh, you care about him more than me? We almost all got killed. You know, I'll finish with a story. We're done here. One Persian Jew is still alive. I told that story a few times in the past. You probably heard it before. For those who did not hear it, it's worth to repeat. One Persian Jew was a Chazan in Iran, the father of the Shah. So he had a birthday, and the people who promote his party, they call different kinds of people to come to sing for the king. So they say, get one Jew also. So they heard there's one Jew Chazan in a shul. He has very good voice. So they went and got him. But when they came to invite him, he wasn't home, so they came to his father. And they said, well, we heard your son singing in a shul very nicely. We have a birthday for the king. It's an official invitation to come sing, and we'll pay you. The father is, okay, I'm honored, very nice. What's the date? They give him the date. The father opened the calendar, Tisha B'Av. And the night, Tisha B'Av. We have to sit on the floor and cry. He has to now go and sing for the king in a party. What is he going to do? The son came. We don't know what to do. People say, you have to go. The Goyim will get offended. The Goyim will go, come on. They say, what kind of Jews is this? They don't want to come and give respect to the king. They're ungrateful. They live in this country. They don't give respect to the king. That's what all the Jews say. He said, I don't know. I'm not the rabbi. I go to the rabbi. Whatever the rabbi tell me I do, what am I? Let the Chacham decide. So he came to the rabbi. The rabbi says it's a very big dilemma. To go is very big Chilul Hashem. He's singing Tisha B'Av. Not to go, it can chas v'shalom cause complication in a relationship between the Jews and the Muslims here. So what's the solution? You go, but you sing Megillat Echa. Al Na'arot Bavel. You take your violin, and you sing a sad song. Anyway, in a shul we allowed. We sing Megillat Echa. Sing in a nigun of Megillat Echa. Said, okay. So he comes over there, all the Muslim dancing, drums, lots of noise. Now they say to the Jew, you come sing. He takes his violin, he begins to cry, and he begins to sing. This Persian, they went crazy. Look at this Jew, how he has the nerve. He comes in the birthday of the king, he has tears, and he sings a sad song to ruin the party. But everyone was ready to choke him, but they saw the king is closing his eyes. You know how when the Persian love the music, it goes like this. They see the king also is crying. As soon as everyone saw like this, nobody wants to mess with the king. So when they finished, the king got up. He came, mamash, a true story. This Jew is still alive in Israel. He kissed his head. He said, all this garbage music, they gave me headache. Finally, one song, you touched my heart. Wait here, don't move. He went to his office. He got a big bag full of coins of gold. He gave it to him. You made my birthday. He gave him the money. With this gold, he married all his children, made Aliyah to Israel, and he told the story to Rabbi Zilberstein, and Rabbi Zilberstein published it in his book. Why? Here you go. you did what the Chacham told you. You ended up gaining from both sides. You sang Megillat Echa, and in the end you got paid for it. Why? When you do what Hashem wants, you don't lose. Remember, there's a big challenge. Go to mixed wedding, big challenge. Go to a concert, mixed guys and girls, big challenge. Go to a place that the food is not extremely kosher, big challenge. Parents' issues, brother, sister, neighbors, this is always gonna be around, always. If you're gonna start being politically correct, you won't be able to keep one mitzvah anymore. Because when you keep Shabbat, many secular Jews ready to kill you from their hatred to the way you are. Come in a car, fanatic. I'm driving. Come in. No. Why are you doing this? Why you don't have television? It kills me that my son is like this. I used to have a normal brother. Now you became a sugar. You crazy. You don't even shake the hands of my wife anymore. Everything you do according to the Torah, they will find what to bark and scream. Believe me, if you give in once, twice, you finished. We have to be strong. This is a test. For the test, we get paid. Hashem gives us. I want to remind everyone who came late, next Tuesday, the lecture here, 8:30, please. A little bit earlier than today, 8:30. And that's the final shiur for this year. The following one will be after Sukkot, at least a month after. After Sukkot, I don't know if it's going to be here. You know, New Year, a month later, we may be in a different location. Speaking about moving to a shul here in Avenue S, maybe over there it's a bigger place. Maybe more people would come. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. This place was very good to us. They're hosting us for more than a year by now. Beautiful service. We'll see. We'll see how the things is changing with my schedule, with other community who ask me to speak over there. I can't come twice a week here. I have to come once. So we'll see how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But we have one more lecture. Remember, next Tuesday, final lecture for the year. Yes?
We have Musar for us.
1 minute Musar we give.
No, I'm saying next week.
Next week? All right, we'll do a whole shiur next week. Musar for Elul, Bezrat Hashem, preparation for Rosh Hashanah. In the meantime, don't wait for next Tuesday for Musar. My website is full of lectures from previous years about Elul. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen ve'amen.